So, welcome. Thanks for joining me for the premiere of LiberalViewer Sunday Live Clip Roundup, where I'll be talking to you, my viewers, live, then playing live some of my favorite clips from today's Sunday news analysis shows and some similar shows from the last few days with clips that caught my eye because, I often see clips I'd like to share with my viewers, but I don't end up finding the time or the material to make one of my edited and produced videos, so maybe this is a way that I'll be able to share those clips, and after I show the clips, I'll also look at the comments that you're posting in the comment section and hopefully get a little live interactive discussion going from those comments. But anyway, for tonight's premiere episode, I wanted to demonstrate how this show won't just be clips from the Sunday news analysis shows. I'll also be using interesting clips from some pop culture sources, and one show that qualifies is a really interesting show I've been watching on the FX network called Brand X with Russell Brand. I've really been surprised at how intelligent and insightful the British actor and comedian Russell Brand has been on some issues, and he's really brought some fresh perspectives to the talk show format, though he can also be too new age for me sometimes, but I thought he did a really good interview with hustler, publisher, and porn king and free speech advocate Larry Flynt, and that included a clip of Larry Flynt saying this.
Well, I won a very important case before the United States Supreme Court. Falwell. We had an evangelist named Jerry Falwell who's since passed on, but he sued me over an ad parody. So the Supreme Court made a unanimous decision. For the first time in 250 years the nation's existed, parody, satire is now protected speech. And that's huge because you can see why Jon Stewart, even Letterman, a lot of these guys, the monologues are really a lot rougher on The Tonight Show and late night than they were in the past because of our ruling. If you go back and look at some of the Johnny Carson shows from the 70s, 80s, nothing compared to what we're doing now, and it's because of that case.
Right.
Hello? Yay, audio. Stream volume is up. Hello? Okay, I've got my audio up now. You should all be able to hear me. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. What I wanted to say about the first clip that I showed that I think you had audio for was that I respect Larry Flynt's First Amendment fight, if not necessarily some of his other pursuits, but I'm pretty skeptical about his claim that his Supreme Court victory was responsible for the harder edge in late-night comedians' monologues since the 60s and 70s. I think there are a lot of other factors, like a general coarsening of the culture, and of course the introduction of cable, and especially premium cable, which can use much more provocative material to lure viewers, and the broadcast networks have kept pushing the envelope to try to compete, I think. Anyway, but I want to know what you think, and hopefully you'll post comments about that and not about my big loss of stream audio there for a little while, and I'll check the discussion after I show all the clips. But I want to show the next clip, which I think I showed before without the audio, which demonstrates something I really love about the Sunday morning news analysis shows, which sometimes can be really boring because the politicians go on and parrot their partisan talking points, and it's the same on every show, and I watch all the shows, and that can get really boring. But every now and then, one of the journalists hosting the shows will point out some big flaw in one of those mindless talking points, and that happened this morning to Republican rising star Marco Rubio, who was on all the talk shows to present the latest news on immigration reform, but he also talked about gun control on Face the Nation, and veteran CBS journalist Bob Schieffer really got to Marco Rubio, I thought, in this clip.
We have to ensure that the laws that people are putting out there do not infringe on the rights of law-abiding citizens, and that actually do keep guns out of the hands of criminals. And my skepticism about gun laws is that criminals don't follow the law. They don't care what the law is. You can pass any law you want, criminals ignore it because by definition, they're criminals.
Are you still there, Senator? Criminals don't follow the laws on burglary and on murder and on auto theft. But those laws
and
still,
I
think most people would say those laws are fairly effective. But let me just ask you this question. You say you have a concealed weapons permit. Do you carry a weapon?
I do not, but I have a concealed weapons permit that basically says that, and I don't, quite frankly, because I spend most of my time in airports and in the Capitol, where you're not allowed to necessarily carry those around.
Okay. Okay. Not only did Bob Schieffer there get Marco Rubio on the criminals don't obey laws talking point there, and really showed how it's kind of a stupid talking point, and I hear it all the time. But did you notice how Marco Rubio admitted at the end there that he spends a lot of time being kept safe by these gun-free zones he's always in? I think that kind of contradicts another big Republican talking point. So anyway, that's why I wanted to play that clip. I'm sorry. For the premiere of the show, I guess there are going to be some technical difficulties, and I apologize for that. Hopefully, as I play these clips and figure out how to work out the audio, everything's going to work out better. Is everybody? Yeah, I still have good audio now. I see everybody saying they can hear. Yay! Hearing some echo. Yeah, okay. So, anyway, that's what I think about that Marco Rubio clip, but I also want to know what you think. So please post comments about that, and after I show a couple more clips, then I'm going to go and look in the discussion section and see if there's some way to get an interactive discussion going on the clips I'm showing. The next one is coming from this morning's Meet the Press, and Meet the Press, I think it may have been around longer than all the other shows. It's been around for a really long time, and so one of the things I really enjoy is when they flash back into their archives to some of their historic clips from Meet the Press. And they did that this morning for a discussion about Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, and there's that new movie out, 42, that dramatizes his story. I think it just came out this weekend. And so I was interested to see Jackie Robinson answering a question on Meet the Press 56 years ago today in this clip.
How do you answer those people who insist that the NAACP is moving very, very fast to get the rights for the Negro, but seems to be doing not enough to impress upon the Negro his own responsibility as he gets these rights?
I think that if we go back and check our record, the Negro has proven beyond a doubt that we have been more than patient in seeking our rights as American citizens. Be patient, I was told as a kid. I keep hearing that today. Let's be patient. Let's take our time. Things will come. It seems to me that the Civil War has been over about 93 years. If that isn't patience, I don't know what is.
How do you answer those people who insist that the NAACP is moving very, very fast to get...
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having a few problems with the clips there, but I think you got all that. Oh, and got the echo going. Okay, technical difficulties for the premiere, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed that clip from 56 years ago today. Jackie Robinson saying that he shouldn't necessarily have to be patient, and that the Negroes, as they were called, did not have to be patient. And you know what it really reminds me of is the oral arguments on same-sex marriage at the Supreme Court last month, where I think it was Justice Alito who was the one who was worrying that expanding marriage to same-sex couples is newer than cell phones and the internet. So he thinks the whole thing might be moving too fast, and I think it kind of reminds me of back in 1957. But I want to know what you think, and you can post in the comments what you think, and I'll check that after I do one more final clip. And this time it's from a show I just started watching on HBO called Vice. I don't know, which is kind of adventure journalism, I guess, and it's been around on the internet for quite a while, but I just started watching it because they just started broadcasting it on HBO after Bill Maher's show on Fridays, and Bill Maher's actually a producer, I think. And anyway, I thought I'd show something I found thought-provoking from the latest episode that included a story about the world's most dangerous border between India and Pakistan and Kashmir. And in the story, there was this interview with Hamid Gul, who I guess he's a Pakistani intelligence officer, or former. And he's been called the father of the Taliban, and he knew Osama Bin Laden back in the days when he was fighting for the West and against the Soviet Union. And that's something you can see over in here. I got to add in the clip here real quick for the fourth clip. Hold on one second, and here we go. Play that clip.
Father of the Taliban because you helped set up the jihadis who would fight against the Soviets.
But of course the jihadis, I supported them. Osama bin Laden was a very sort of a genial kind of a man,
Right.
a bit shy. Intelligence oozed out of his eyes, flashing black eyes, you know, just oozed out of his eyes.
After the Mumbai.
Okay, so that was the fourth and final clip, and that I wanted to show for this premiere of the LiberalViewer Sunday Live clip roundup. And what really struck me about that clip is it reminded me of, you know, that now after Osama bin Laden is dead and all, and that there really was some kind of genius in the evil genius of Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and September 11th, and especially the way I think Osama bin Laden provoked the United States into a big military response, which was one of his goals. I don't think he got all the goals he wanted, but that was one. And with not a lot of money and not a lot of personnel, he came up with an evil genius plan, I guess. And of course, he made a lot of mistakes too, beyond just being evil and an evil genius. But anyway, I want to know what you think about these clips, and I'm going to start looking through the comments now. And I think I've got audio and all the clips are done, so hopefully this all the technical problems are done, and hopefully we can have a little live discussion before we're done for the night. So if you have any comments you want to make about the clips I showed here, let me go over here. Got a lot of comments about the lack of sound. There may have been so many technical difficulties tonight that that's going to be what most of the comments are about. Oh wait, I have one comment here from Gabor Cosper saying about the Marco Rubio clip. Says, I don't think he meant he was safe in no gun zones. I think he meant it wouldn't be convenient for him to wear a gun because he's many times in no gun zones. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't really mean that he was that that's what he meant to admit, that he intentionally admitted that. But what I really meant was that I thought it was interesting that he mentioned that he's in these gun-free zones for his own security so much of the time. And, you know, Republicans are always talking about how gun-free zones are so insecure. Well, why is it that airports and the Capitol are gun-free zones, except for the people who are allowed to carry the guns, and I guess there are armed guards in those places. So, but anyway, it's sort of the reverse of the armed guard argument that, you know, there was that terrible NRA ad about, you know, why does the president get to have his kids in with armed guards all the time, and he's opposing your kids having armed guards at their schools. And so this is the reverse of that, where, you know, why is it Marco Rubio gets to spend so much time in these gun-free zones, and yet he opposes gun-free zones for you and your kids. So anyway, that was the point I was making with that. Let me see if I have any other good from the people who are watching. Are y'all still have audio here? Can you all hear me? Let me see. I turn my mic up a little. That's about as high as it goes. I think everyone can hear me. There's a fly in the room here, which is really let's see. Josh Keaton fan asks, will you be going on to Ring of Fire Radio or the Majority Report? Well, I'm always up for going on to places and promoting my channel and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with my emails and messages, and you know, I always read all the comments, but sometimes I get overwhelmed with the messages, so I might miss some things. And I also sometimes get invitations to do things at times when I know I'm busy, and so I just sort of don't respond to everything. But I'm always open to those kind of things. But that actually, I want to look for some comments about the clips I played if I can, or otherwise I'm going to finish up soon. Let's see. Amstang864 says, would we fall for an evil genius plot again, you think? Well, I mean, that's the thing about evil geniuses, is they think outside the box, I guess. They that was the genius of the whole plan, is that it found the place where it found the vulnerabilities. It was really like, you know, when I was in college, I was a history major, and I studied mostly military history, and I studied a lot of military strategy, and I, you know, read like Clausewitz and Sun Tzu's The Art of War, and there are all these things about, you know, how you find your enemy's weak point and exploit that, and be where your enemy isn't, and all sorts of, you know, Zen stuff like that. And I mean, that's the evil genius, is that they catch you where you're not thinking about it. So I guess that good comment here. And let's see, Skunk Caps asks, do you think there's any chance of getting a reasonable conversation with politicians about any issue past the talking points? Well, I mean, I think that you can get past the talking points every now and then, and that's why I watch these Sunday news analysis shows, and I've enjoyed, you know, if I have any, I mean, I have a few qualifications, I guess, for having my news media and news analysis and political commentary channel. And one of my qualifications is that I've been watching these Sunday news shows, I guess, for 20 years now, more than that even. Every Sunday it used to be Meet the Press, This Week with David Brinkley, Face the Nation, and then Fox News Sunday started in the 90s, and CNN and MSNBC have shows now, and I try to catch all those, and that's where I'm going to try to get most of the clips for this Liberal Viewer Sunday Live Clip Roundup show, which I'll be doing every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, so I hope you'll be coming back to that. And one of the things I like about the shows is that you see the same, especially when people go from show to show to show, is that you see the same talking points, and different journalists, take their crack at them, and the good ones, they do, you get through them sometimes. And, I really miss Tim Russert from Meet the Press, although David Gregory can do a good job sometimes, and there are other good journalists. I think Bob Schieffer at least rattled Marco Rubio a little bit there, but not really. But at least he kind of punctured one of the flaws in the talking points. So I think that was worthwhile. And for anyone who wants to know about American politics, I'd really recommend watching those Sunday shows. I mean, they're not as important as when I started watching them 20 years ago, because back then there wasn't 24-hour news cable cycle, the 24-hour news cycle on cable, and a lot of the stuff that would just get addressed on Sunday is now being addressed every day, all the time, and there's so much time to fill that it's it goes on kind of ad nauseum, and it's not as important on Sunday as it used to be. But I still think it's a good way to learn about the American political system and what's going on in Washington, D.C., on the national level at least. And so I'd recommend anyone who's interested to watch, those shows I was talking about. And let's see, I'm going to look for maybe one more or two more comments. Do a little refreshing here. Let me see. Tears of War 52% are in favor of recreational marijuana usage. Yeah, I posted something about that on Facebook when that Pew Research poll first came out, but that is not... Oh, let me see here. Oh, someone's still arguing about the Marco Rubio clip. Mr. BDF 2000, how is Rubio following the rules of gun-free zones inconsistent with his claim that he would be made personally safer if he was allowed to carry, as a politician is damaging to break law? Well, no, I'm not saying it's inconsistent with his claim that he would be made personally safer if he was allowed to carry. I'm saying is that it's kind of a contradiction that Republicans are against gun-free zones, but they're actually protected by them. I'm not saying that he's asking necessarily to be protected by the gun-free zone, but he is protected by the gun-free zones in airports and in Congress. And like I said, it's the sort of the inverse of the NRA argument against Obama, saying, his kids are protected by armed guards at all times. Why shouldn't your kids be protected by armed guards? So I'm saying, well, Marco Rubio spends most of his time protected by gun-free zones. Why shouldn't you be protected by gun-free zones? And anyway, that was the irony I was pointing out. I suppose it's maybe hypocrisy is too strong a word, but anyway, that was the point I was trying to make on that. Let me see if I can find one more on-topic point here before I end. KZNO2 says, speaking of art of war, it sucks how corruption easily destroys armies and countries, though it is a viable tactic against enemies. Well, I mean, that's a good comment. I don't know if I really have anything to say to that. Oh, wait, Amstang864 says, Maddo would whoop some ass on the Sunday shows. Well, she's on every now and then. She does a good job. So anyway, I guess that is going to be the premiere episode of Liberal Viewer Sunday Live Roundup, which will be every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll probably go in, I think I can edit out that part with no audio and let it just jump. And hopefully next Sunday that won't be a problem. Also, I want to let you all know that I'm working on a produced edited video which should be up in the next 24 hours. I posted a notice about that earlier. It's Fox News trumps up bugging charge against Mother Jones, which is all about this Mitch McConnell tape of his private meeting showing how he was talking about opposition research attacking Ashley Judd and whether that violates eavesdropping statutes, and how all the lawyers on Fox News gave really bad legal analysis. So that should be up on my channel sometime in the next 24 hours. So look for that, and look for Liberal Viewer Wednesday Live, which will just be Q&A at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, and this new show on Sundays. Hopefully I'll be getting you 3 videos a week if I get into a rhythm on this. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my show here, and let me get to signing off.